wherein I don't have to look at the indexes and the stocks on a day-to-day basis because I have my strategies. I put that in place, and they run at whenever the indicators indicate that we should buy or sell things. My discretionary trading, um, uh, I would say 90% has ended up in only making me a lot of losses. You know, and those losses have been recovered because hey, I discovered how to do technical trading, etc. And you guys have been pioneers in providing such a easy tool. Meaning today, a new trader can come to your platform, and if he understands English, he can write an strategy.
Hello and welcome to our podcast. My name is Alok Tiwari and we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Jigar Shah. So, the purpose of this podcast is to explore the amazing world of systematic trading. We understand that trading can be very overwhelming and challenging, especially for those of you who are just getting started. That's why we are starting a series of podcasts where we are going to invite experienced traders who have been successfully using the Streak platform to create and execute their trading strategies to achieve their financial goals. So, for those of you who might not be familiar, Streak platform allows you to create and deploy your trading strategies without any coding knowledge. Some of the key features of the Streak platform include the ability to create scanners and strategies using indicators, price action, patterns, etc. So let's get started with today's podcast. Hello, Mr. Jigar. First of all, I'd like you to introduce yourself to our audience and share a little bit about your experience with trading.
Sure. Myself, Jigar Shah, I have been. My professional job is basically into providing consulting services in the real estate space, the real estate software space,
Right.
and I've been doing that for 17 plus years, and also developing software as well, right? For that same space. My trading, I've been doing for about 8 years now, 9 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, as a novice trader in the first couple of years, obviously just doing things based on, whatever you hear in the market, what you feel, what you
Right.
understand, what I knew about IT space, what I was doing, till I officially, gained technical training knowledge
Mhm.
from Kunal Saraugi and Rakesh Bansal, right?
All right.
And so I spent a couple of years training with them. And after that, started my real training journey. Till then, obviously, I was doing whatever I was doing on my own, which was not the greatest thing. And even after doing that, it took me a few years to
Mm-hmm.
get to today, where I am now using platforms like Streak along with Zeroda to automate my trading, wherein I don't have to look at the indexes and the stocks on a day-to-day basis because I have my strategies. I put that in place, and they run at whenever the indicators indicate that we should buy or sell things.
Wonderful,
So
wonderful.
that's sort of my journey so far.
So you are coming from a very diversified background. You've worked in different industries, what
Yeah.
I can see. So I would also like you to tell us what exactly inspired you to get into trading.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole rich family history,
Hmm.
but mainly to do with the fact that stocks and the market has always fascinated me, and finance has always fascinated me.
Right.
And I'd seen my dad, basically buying and selling stocks in the 90s, right? Obviously, just for his portfolio, etc.
All right.
But it was something which I was exposed to very early on as a child, and then I always have a fancy towards numbers, so
Mm-hmm.
that got me into it. But I was mostly a passive investor through mutual funds, etc., up until 2014, 15, after which I basically got into full time sort of trading and not full time into trading. I want to say I got into trading per se. Before
Right.
that, I was just doing mutual fund investments.
So you must have learned a lot from your family as well, I guess, before you.
Yeah, yes, but most of our knowledge was just, based on our knowledge of the markets, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Given that we had IT backgrounds and we had knowledge of what was happening in the IT space and what was happening in India in the 90s and early 2000s, IT was always the favored space in which you are investing.
Of
But
course.
obviously, you always knew about the stocks like HDFC banks and ICICI and Reliance and all of those big names.
Hmm.
But always the perception on those stocks were like, hey, इसमें तो manipulation होता है types, but IT में नहीं होता है, So
All right.
all sorts of myths that we grew up with till I started doing it more frequently. Then it was like okay, clear to me that hey, you
Mhm.
cannot game the market. You need to understand how the market works and then flow with the market, whether it's buying or selling, whatever it is, flow with the market.
Correct. Correct. So I would also like to know what is your trading style exactly? Do you focus on intraday or do you focus on swing trading?
Yeah, so initial years, I was doing a lot of swing trading. I was focusing mainly on buying in cash and also selling them.
Hmm.
Then obviously you learn the wonders of leverage and you blow your portfolio out by losing everything. So I've gone through that phase where I've lost a lot of money a couple of times just blowing out my portfolio because I was doing futures without, proper knowledge. But since I've gained technical training and also then applied that training, I
Hmm.
basically figured out that my style is suited to weekly options and options. Initially, it was option buying, then now it was option selling mainly because
Okay.
option selling gives you a consistent income out of things.
Hmm.
Although it requires now more and more margin compared to what it was like, even 5, 6 years ago.
Definitely.
But still, it's a fixed income that you can get out of things based on historical analysis. So I've done a lot of historical analysis on indexes, meaning
Hmm.
I've taken 10 plus years of Nifty and Bank Nifty data from NSE website, downloaded it to Excel, daily data, and done all sorts of analysis on them, right? So now I have about 10 to 11 different strategies, and
Hmm.
they are based on positional weekly, and then others are based on indicators that run on 3 minute, 5 minute, uh, 15 minute sort of intervals.
So you're trading all these strategies at once?
I am trading all the strategies at once. I have sort of figured out what is the capital I require for each one, and based
Hmm.
on that, I have set up my lot sizes for each one of the strategies.
That's
So
great. That's great. So,
I have a fixed capital, and and I have divided my capital amongst these different strategies, and based
mhm.
on that, I have devised the lots that I need to use, and based on the back testing that I've done with Streak over the last 3, 4 years. And problem with dynamic is you can only go 3 years back, right? I wish you can help us get to 5, 6 years back and not just 3 years back. But anyway, my point is that with 3 years of analysis of 3 years of data analysis, I've come to a conclusion as to how these strategies will work, how they will perform, what will be the drawdowns. And based on that, I've deployed capital for each of the strategies.
So that's great. I think you have a very analytical approach towards trading, and you're not a discretionary trader. Basically, you
Yeah,
trade based on
not
rules, or
anymore.
you're.
Not anymore. Yeah, I mean, I've lost too much money doing discretionary trades, and even now I've realized that many times when I get into this mode that hey, I'm free, let me do a discretionary trade, I end up making a loss. And so now it's like just do it based on a system and don't
Right.
touch the
And
system.
maybe once in a while, just for entertainment or for
No, no
getting the
entertainment.
feel.
Money no longer is to be used for entertainment. It's I mean, if I want to use for entertainment, go and buy IPL ticket and go and watch that,
Definitely, definitely.
but not spend it in the market for no reason.
So, from your experience, what are some drawbacks of discretionary trading? What problems have you personally faced which got solved through systematic trading?
Yeah, I mean, see, with discretionary trading comes human emotions, right? Your yeah, as what I had learned from what Kunal sir used to tell us, your endorphins sort of get activated, and it is very similar to when you would have done gambling, right? I mean, I've
Correct.
lived a lot of my life in the US, and I've gone to casinos and other things, and I would say a discretionary trader is a gambler, in my opinion, right?
Very true.
Because you are playing with your emotions, right? And there are very few who can be Gandhis and who can have control on their
Control
emotions,
that.
right? Yeah, the control is very difficult, very very difficult, and you may have control for 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, but it is not consistent, right?
Hmm.
And maybe there are people out there who have mastered it and they are great at it, right? It is not me. It is not my style. My discretionary trading, um, uh, I would say 90% has ended up in only making me a lot of losses, you know.
Right.
And those losses have been recovered because, hey, I discovered how to do technical trading, etc. But it is not worth the emotional stress, the trauma of losing money, when you know that, hey, you knew how to do it right, but you still messed it up. You know?
Correct. So basically, when you're trading without a system or a proper strategy, you're basically not only trying to analyze the market, you're also trying to fight yourself, your emotions. So
Exactly.
that bit gets aside when we are doing a systematic trading, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
Correct.
100%. Yes.
So I would also like you to speak a little bit about risk management. What all practices do you follow to manage your risk?
Yeah. Yeah, so again, over the years, initially very cavalier approaches, which resulted in a lot of losses, right?
Mhm.
Then learned a lot about how to do risk management with respect to, okay, number of lots that I can have on a trade, to what I can lose per trade, and try to limit that to 0.5% or 1% maximum of my capital, after which I should stop. You know,
Correct.
that was great in discretionary trading. Okay,
Hmm.
but again, that didn't work out because your emotions are involved. So that 1% became two, sometimes three, and in a worst case scenario, it became even close to 10%
You
on a
always
closing.
wait for that a little hope of a green thing.
Yeah, there's always like, ye to mere against jayega hi, it will become better, this will definitely happen, but it
Yeah.
doesn't happen. What happened with systematic trading, and specifically with what strategies you developed, and with the back testing, is I realized is, hey, now I know that for this particular, say, strategy X, I need capital, say X thousand.
Hmm.
I know the number of, based on historical analysis, how many times I can lose in a row, how many times I can win in a row, meaning how many trades are winners, how many trades are losers, what is a max drawdown, in case I lose X amount in a row, right?
Correct.
And I try to aim for strategies which can give me a max drawdown of less than 5 to 6%, right?
All right.
One of the strategies I have max drawdown up to 10%, but then that strategy over a long run seems to be giving great results, at least historically, right?
Mhm.
And given that I deployed that over the last few months through Streak, that has proven to be true. Now that could be because of, sorry, excuse me, that can be true because the market has been trending in one direction, right? I mean, last 3 4 months, but I mean, proof will be how this will run over the course of the next 1 year, you know,
Correct.
and forward. But idea is that based on my analysis, based on back testing, come up with the numbers, noted those numbers down in Excel, right? Um, tested with one parameter, changed the parameter, noted the results of that in Excel, change the parameters again, noted that down. So like for many of my strategies, I have, changed parameters several times and I have like 15, 20 different results, right?
Hmm.
And then based on that 15, 20 results, I choose the best result or best result with respect to obviously the profit you make out of it, but also the drawdown, right?
Correct.
Which is risk versus reward, and use that strategy or apply that strategy.
Right. So you would always want your drawdowns to be low, so
Lowest
that,
as possible. Yeah.
yeah, so that you always have that confidence in your strategy and do not get shaken due to a large loss.
Yeah. I mean, these days I don't get shaken because I'm like, I'm not looking at the screen, right? If I don't look at the screen, I'm not shaken. If I look at the
That's true.
screen is when I'll get shaken, right? Because I do trade with a lot of lots, right? Because of my capital, etc. But I just don't look at the numbers. I just ensure that I look at the final result, right? And the process. Let the process continue on its own and don't touch the process.
Right. So basically, I think most of the problems start the moment the trader starts looking at the M2M profit and loss rather than looking at the strategy or the market itself.
Yeah.
So that is
And also,
one.
I mean, a good friend of mine, recently told me that, hey, your emotions get moved when you look at a red candle and a green candle. Stop looking at those candles, right?
Correct.
And let the system do its thing because you have back tested this. You know the system works. Let the system do its thing. Don't get moved by the green and the red candle, right?
Very
So,
true.
which is a very important thing to know as well, or rather, acknowledge and accept it as well.
Correct. Correct. So basically, detaching from your trades emotionally is very,
Yeah,
very important.
very important.
So you are doing a lot of backtesting and you're doing a lot of analysis as well. So what are the key parameters or I would say backtest matrix that you look at? One is the maximum drawdown, which you have told us about. What are the two, three other very, very important factors when you select a strategy that this one is very suitable for me?
Uh, that's an interesting thing. So my strategies are focused only on index, right? Nifty and Bank Nifty. I have stopped uh, over the last few months doing stock-based trading just
Hmm.
because in stocks, no matter what strategies you apply, you have the possibility of, 5% or 10% gap up, gap
Gap
down, or
ups.
crazy days. Even if you say I will not trade around results days, right? The movement in stocks can be wild, right?
Hmm.
Even if you take the most easiest of stocks, or rather the most stable of stocks out there, the movements can be wild, right? Whereas with index, based on all the historical analysis, which is for me 15 years of data, index for most of the periods don't move beyond a particular range, up or
Hmm.
down. So my strategies are based on index, first of all. I tend to trade only index. I do have a couple of stock based, but those are temporary. So I focus on index. That is most important because index is not easily manipulated, or index cannot be manipulated. Is how
Correct.
that is
Correct.
my belief, right? And given the volume and the size of our market, that is very, very difficult now,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
uh, on a percentage basis, a Nifty or Bank Nifty cannot be manipulated, right? And so that's one focus. Second, obviously, I mentioned drawdown is another one.
Hmm.
The third important aspect is that I try to look at it. I focus on making sure that the strategy works in a up market, down market, and does not make a loss in a sideways market, right? Because so I have buying and selling strategies these
Mhm.
days, right? Obviously, in buying strategy, whether it is buying a call or a put, the trend is important. There has to be a trend. If it's
Hmm.
sideways, you get killed, very easily. So I tend to focus on a strategy that works in up and down market definitely,
Mm-hmm.
um, but also does not give me a lot of loss or grief in sideways market, right? So without having to worry that checking where the market is trending, I try to focus on, will the strategy give me minimal loss in that period, right, when it is sideways. So that is why I run. So even if I run a 3 minute or 5 minute strategies, I run for those each chunk of 3 months, which is what you
Mm-hmm.
maximum allow.
Mm.
But I run this 3 months and I note all of that in Excel. You know, I basically analyze what is happening during up market, down market, and side market, right? And those
Right.
are my flags as to decide based on that. And then I also have a specific set of indicators, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't go beyond those indicators, because you can go wild and have 20 or 30 different indicators applied to a strategy, but that doesn't guarantee a definitive result. So I am sticking to a very few set of indicators nowadays.
And can you share a little bit about the indicators that you use?
Yeah, I mean, most basic ones, right? Volume, RSI, those are the most basic ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I am into call and puts, VWAP plays an important role as well.
VWAP.
Yeah. So those three combined together allows me to make my strategies more definitive. And then I have a couple of selling strategies. I
Mm-hmm.
would not like to talk about details of that, but I don't want to talk about it because I want to see a consistent 1 year result on it. And maybe after that, I
Definitely.
might be open to talking more about it.
I look forward to have you again in our show on our show next
Yeah,
year.
sure, sure. Happy to.
So, I would also like to know if you have any particular routine or specific things that you do to, improve your trading, which is not directly related to analyzing the markets or etc. For example, a lot of people I've seen that they'll do yoga and things like that to keep your stress levels down or anything like that, or maybe any particular reading habits or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had very good reading habits. Unfortunately, that became that didn't that over the last few years went south, but I have picked it up again, right? So
Hmm.
reading has always been my strong suit, because that is how I have learned about life, markets. Being an engineer, you always have to be learning new things all the time, otherwise you will become outdated, right?
Of course.
So, but my focus over the last couple of years has also been, trying to daily walk, 5 to 10 kilometers, right? That's sort
Hmm.
of my focus. Again, unfortunately, due to my current set of work, I have not been able to do that very consistently just in the last few months. But in the last year and a half, 2 years, I've done 5 marathons, right? Half marathons, and that is because I like to walk, and I've been able to focus on walking. I don't run,
Hmm.
but it gives me a sense of sort of calmness, right? In the day, in the morning, helps me to prepare myself, etc.
Right.
For the day. Not, I mean, not just for markets, but just my day in general, right? And keep myself healthy as well.
Hmm.
Uh, Obviously, since my automation has only happened in the last few months. Before that, I was looking at, I had a lot of screen time, right? Both work and market screen time. That didn't help my eyesight. So now this, one of my main reasons to focus on automation was also to stop looking at the screen, which means that will help to keep my health, my eyes, and my sanity in one place, right? So, but yeah, I mean, mainly trying to stay healthy, eat healthy, and exercise as frequently as possible. And my exercises are not very intense, but focus mainly
Hmm.
on walking and other things.
Walking, and that's one of the best exercises, I guess, because you're
Yeah,
not even putting so much of effort that you have to think about it every morning. Oh God, I have to go and do this exercise.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
Yeah. But you got to do it, right? I mean, if you don't do it, then, and also my kids are young, so I tend to participate with them in a lot of activities, so that helps as well. And keeping yourself healthy also helps just overall improve your lifestyle as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, we were talking about streak, and you've already told me that you're doing a lot of backtesting. Are there any other things also that you've been using on streak, such as scanners or any other feature?
Okay, so
Mhm.
I've been back testing for a long, long time. So
Right.
if you look at my history, I've been doing it for 4 years. In fact, I was one of the original streak, meaning one of the starting members of streak. I think so. That's how I think so. But I've been doing testing for a long time.
Mhm.
Scanners, etc. I still need to do a lot of more work. I don't have time to invest into that at this point in time. And like I said, I'm not into stocks a lot these days. I'm doing only index. And index, if you tell me today, hey, what did the index end on yesterday?
Hmm.
I can tell you because I just know it. So I know what is my index opening closing numbers every day, right? And it is so ingrained into me that I don't want to focus on anything else. Because with index only I can multiply my capital X times. Then why should I focus on anything else? Right?
That's true. That's true.
So it is very important to find your niche and try to stick to it. Initial years I didn't do that. I was all over the place, and that uh, meant a lot of losses.
Right. So focus is something that you prioritize. If you're
Very
working on
important.
strategies, focus on strategies and do well over there. If you're focusing on index, focus there and do well over there rather than
Yeah.
looking at the whole universe of so many stocks.
Yeah, don't try to be a jack of all. You will not succeed. In market, you will not succeed if you try to be jack of all, honestly. I mean, I still invest in mutual funds, right? But I
Mhm.
take advice of a friend of mine who is full time into mutual funds, right?
Right.
I don't even try to learn about it, right? I solely depend on him because that's his full time job. That's what he does.
Mhm.
And his focus is just there and it gives me great returns. So I do have my investment in that, right? I
Right.
know a friend of mine who's only into commodities. I
Uh,
just let him do and tell me how it works, and I just focus on investing based on his analysis, right?
mm,
I do my own analysis, but I focus based on that. And also, my over the last 12 months, my journey is I do two things. Either I
mm,
do meaning I do index and currency, or I do index and commodity, right?
mm,
I don't do only currency commodity. I always have index in place, right? And so they have a lot of correlations, inverse correlations,
mm.
index and currency, index and commodities. So it becomes very easy to trade in that way.
True. True. I would also like you to share some challenges that you faced using Streak, especially when you started initially. Were there anything like that which used to, bother you or
Yeah, I mean, I think your platform has been built step by step, so it does take a lot of time
Mhm,
to get a lot of new indicators, a lot of. I
mm,
mean, I remember the struggle in the original days was, hey, we could just do very basic, and or and and
true.
moving averages, and there were like only 8 or 10 different things you could do. So although I bought the subscription, I was like, अरे यार ये इसमें तो कुछ होने वाला नहीं है मेरा क्योंकि I need open interest and I need VWAP and I need this and okay, initial days VWAP may be a bad example because you had it from day one, but there were
Mhm,
quite a few other things I was trying and it was not there. So I was like, okay, I turned off from Streak because I was like, ये नहीं है मैं खुद से करूंगा करके. But धीरे धीरे as I started investigating and as you started adding, I mean Streak started adding stuff,
mm,
it became easier and easier.
mm,
And you guys have been pioneers in providing such a easy tool. Meaning today, a new trader can come to your platform, and if he understands English, he can write an strategy, right?
correct.
Like moving average cube, it is above moving average, it is above super trend, above VWAP, do X, right? For that to be written in streak will take 2 minutes, right? दो
Very
मिनट
true.
के अंदर होगा. No other platform out there can do it. No other platform. I've seen so many platforms, no other platform can do it, right?
So I would like you to give a couple of advice to someone who's just starting right now. If let's say a new trader comes in the market and asks you for advice, what will you tell them?
Patience, right?
Patience.
Because the number one thing I realized is most of the time I lost money not having patience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Second is backtest, 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 right? Meaning whatever you think works, make
Mm-hmm.
sure you test it, right? And there are so many avenues to get data, right? You can get from NSC website, so easy to get it. Use Streak, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever platform you use, right? I mean, but you need to backtest what you believe is a strategy, because you may believe something and you may have an observation, but when you backtest, you will realize, no, this only makes like 5% profit and it has a drawdown of 50%, right? So unless you backtest, you cannot convert your theory into reality, right?
True.
So patience, backtest, and please, if you want to do trading, get a course on technical analysis, learn from some of the best gurus out there, right? And uh, don't do paper trading. Paper trading is nonsense, in my opinion. Sorry, but put your money where your mouth is. Take a very small sum. It could
Hmm.
be 10 rupees, 100 rupees, 1,000 rupees, and I know for each person that money amount is different, right?
Yeah.
But put money into that analysis and apply that money, right? But before that, backtest.
Correct.
But you need to apply money, because till you apply money, you will not realize how you feel
Feel
about that
about it.
trade. Yeah, yeah. And then final thing, automate it. Just leave it, man. Don't look at the screen. Otherwise, you will lose money.
So basically, you should not be taking decisions and doing analysis all the time, because if that is what you're doing, then there are chances of making a lot of mistakes. So rather,
Yeah,
you
and if
build a
continuously
strategy.
do analysis, you'll be in continuous analysis paralysis mode. That
Yeah,
is
that's
how
true.
half of India functions, man. Analysis paralysis. Well, we don't have we. I mean, look at. I mean, I don't want to name names. Let's not name names. But we have people who have provided effective leadership
Hmm.
because they don't have analysis paralysis. The people who have not provided leadership are the people who have analysis paralysis, right?
True.
And that is a lot of folks over the years I've seen in my generation, right? Obviously, each generation gets smarter and smarter. My kids
Hmm.
are probably to be much smarter than I am, but are already showing that. But if you basically, do not analyze and just analyze and not make a decision, then you
Hmm.
are not going to go anywhere. So you need
Absolutely.
to make your own decision and fail. Fail, man. If you fail, then only you will succeed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any any recommendations of books or any learning platform that you would want to give?
Uh, Technical analysis by Kunal Sarogi, man. Join
All right.
his. I mean, that man is on a mission. He
Mm-hmm.
teaches so many things on YouTube for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
With respect to books, man, there are things like Options Bible. If you're going into option trading,
Mm-hmm.
definitely read those books, those starting books which are out there. I mean, again, I don't want to name specific ones because you have quite a few authors, but
Hmm.
Options Bibles will help you understand the 5 or 6 parameters based on which the options trade, right? And options trading, no matter what people say, that's the best way to trade, whether you're selling or buying. Options is not a weapon of mass destruction. Futures is a weapon of mass destruction. Options is a way to limit your destruction, right?
Right.
But you need to understand all the parameters of options before you do option trading. Uh, I made the criminal mistake of not doing that. You don't do it, is what I'm saying.
And
So
you learned it the
definitely,
harder way.
yeah. And there is so much material, man. YouTube is just riddled with it, right?
Absolutely.
Mm.
So thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for sharing your valuable knowledge with all of us. I'd quickly like to summarize the podcast for our audience. Uh, so there are a lot of emotions. First of all, where there are a lot of emotions involved with discretionary trading, and that is why you should be focusing on more systematic approach to trading, right? You need to detach emotionally from your trades and do a lot of backtesting, of course, and not only backtesting blindly, but backtesting it on different kind of market conditions, bullish market, bearish market, sideways market, and see how your strategy is performing in different market conditions. Focus on your health as well, because that is very important for your own good and for your financial health as well.
Sure.
Correct.
Yes.
And
100%.
you need to be very focused. Focus on particular style
Set
of
of things.
trading or
Yeah.
instrument rather than going everywhere and trading everything. That will give you more knowledge about the instrument itself, and you might be able to build better strategies that way. Patience is a key to success in the markets for successful trading journey, and you should be doing some real trades if you really want to learn. Correct. Have I missed
Sure.
anything? Or you would
No, I
like to
think
add
I think it's
anything?
spot on. No, spot on. Spot on.
All
You
right.
got you got the summary right.
Thank you for
By the
giving your
by the way,
valuable
what
time.
I want to ask you, what are you doing to take the input? Are you typing it in or did you write it down?
No, I have typed it.
Man, that's good, man. You have very good typing speed. That's awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So it was a really insightful conversation, and I hope once you're ready and have confidence in your new strategies, you'll be coming back to our podcast and share your knowledge again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like I said, 1 year I want to just do what I've been doing, and ensure that works. And yeah, and I'll be happy to share more of my results and more of my strategies after that. Thanks for allowing me to talk about my trading style and strategies and other.
It's our pleasure.
So
It's a pleasure.
thanks for that. Yeah.